Hi there everyone and welcome back to Boat McRill. Yeah, last week we took apart Anders MD17C and we removed the cylinder heads and the cylinder, put in a new piston, and after that we started to put everything back together again. In this week's episode we keep on doing the work. As you can see here, Anders are putting in the gaskets for the exhaust system. Here's a little warning. Make sure to check that you put the seals back in the correct way. Otherwise you can get a nasty surprise. If the seals are put back in the wrong direction, you can actually end up with water intrusion into the cylinders. That happened to us because unfortunately Anders didn't think about it and turned one of the seals backwards. We had to take everything apart. Here you can see me slightly tighten the bolts for the cylinder. Anders are now starting to torque down the cylinders. According to the workshop manual, you are supposed to torque this in 3 different sets of 30, 80 and 110 Newton meters. Släppt grejen, släppt ut. Till vinkeln. Vi byggda för att trycka till för att When you torque the bolts for the exhaust system, don't use as much force as Anders doing here. There is a possibility to actually break the bolts for this. I have done that on my MD17C on my boat, so take it a little bit easy. They don't need to be heavily torqued. Here you see Anders putting back the freshwater system. And when you install a new gasket on stuff, make sure to clean off residues from the old gaskets, and you can also use a little bit of sanding paper to clean off with. These bolts are not supposed to be torqued down, it's just tightened. We are discussing a bit about how the former owners had installed their freshwater cooling. Now we Anders are getting into putting better lifters. This could be a little bit fiddly. As you can see here, there's some force from the rods, so you have to screw this down gently to get a torque down correctly. Here you see Anders bent the oil pipe with And take it easy so you don't break it. Putting back the bolt with the 2 new O-rings or metal O-rings. Now it's time to set the valve clearance. According to the workshop manual, the inlet valve clearance is 0.30 millimeters and the exhaust is 0.35 millimeters. This needs to be pretty correctly set, otherwise you can get some problems with engine ticking and noises that are not supposed to be there. Also, if the valves are opening or closing in the little bit incorrect timing, you can get problem with not getting enough air in there, or it's not letting the exhaust out in the correct time. This has to be done on all of the valves. Each time you remove the lifters or the heads and stuff like that, you have to just check the valve clearance so it's still the correct way. A tip here is, as you can see, we are feeling, and it's supposed to be kind of a sucking feeling, that when you move this metal measuring things, you're supposed to feel like it sucks a little bit on the blade, metal blade. It's not too tight, not too loose. Make sure to hold the bolt while you tighten it up so it doesn't move, and check again after you tighten the bolt. It's time to install the oil cap gasket. After that you get put on the oil cap or the valve cap or whatever you want to call it. There's no special torque on this, just tighten it up. Here you can see me putting back the lifting eyes. Unfortunately, I tried to install it the incorrect way, so I had to restart and put it in the correct angle. It's supposed to be kind of middle of the engine, so if you have to lift out the engine, it's not supposed to wiggle in any direction, it's just lifting straight up. Here on the right side you can see we have put on the air filters, and Anders is now installing the fuel lines. There is 3 incoming connections and 3 return connections. This can be a little bit fiddly. You might have to unscrew the nozzles, or what you want to call them. In this case he has to do that on the 3rd cylinder because he couldn't align the groove, so he couldn't screw it in. Here you can see him doing that. Here you can see Anders screwing back the fuel lines to the feeder pump. It's kind of tricky to get in there. It's not a lot of space. But if you do this in the correct order from the one furthest in and then outwards, it's a bit easier. This is a 40-year-old engine, so of course there's some paint and stuff gone. Here you can put the return line, putting back into the filter. In these engines, the return line is going back to the fuel filters. On other engines, that's actually going directly to the tank. And then of course it's time to start the engine. By that, you have seen how we took care of this MD17C up here, and here you have Anders. That's his boat. I think he's pretty happy right now.
Yes, very happy.
Yeah,
Finally,
yeah, we made it go. So hope you get something out of this. Write a comment down below under the video if you have any questions about what we did and how to do it. And give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Hit the subscription button down on your right side, and of course the little notification bell, put that on all so you don't miss any of my videos. And take care. See you out there on the ocean.
bye,
Bye everyone.